team score. So you drop 3, so we've still got 6 rounds to go, 2 here at Brands Hatch, and of course we've got 2 more to come later on in the season at Anglesey and also Silverstone, 2 double headers there to look forward to as well. So lots of racing still to go for the Mini 7s. This is going to be a cracking race. Normally they're paired with the Mini 7 S-Class, which we've already seen so far today in that previous race, but today they get their own race and we're looking forward to this with 18 on the grid. Last few now come into place towards the rear. The 5-second board is now held aloft and the red lights very shortly to come on here at Brands Hatch for their first of 2 races today. Red lights come on now. Who can make the best start from the front of the grid? Well, it's a bit of a sluggish start there for Conor O'Brien, but a good start from the outside in the orange car for Mike Jordan, who's going to leap into the lead of the race briefly, but can he hold that down towards Paddock Hill Bend on this first corner? I think he can. He's going to go round the outside of Conor O'Brien, and job is done for Mike Jordan, so a cracking start for him. Conor O'Brien down to 2nd place now, and Ross Billison and Joe Thompson go side by side up the hill in towards Druids. It's Joe Thompson on the outside run into the corner. Oh, and there's a bit of a sideways moment there for our pole sitter. Conor O'Brien maybe caught the curb a little bit too much, or maybe some fluid on the track there, but he was sideways. He's just going to go the way by the looks.
And Woodbridge is trying to open up the door to see whether he can move his way of Joe Thompson's white car with its red roof, but then the advantage goes back in the way of Joe Thompson, so the man from Leicestershire, who's only just graduated from university, hangs on to 4th position. Top 2 have got away already on this first lap. Mike Jordan is going to chalk lap number 1 into the book. He's got the 2020 Mini 7 S-Class champion Conor O'Brien sitting behind him though, then the gap before we see Ross Billison in 3rd place, Joe Thompson in 4th, Glenn Woodbridge there in 5th place, and the green car of Darren Thomas completes the top 6 at the moment. But amazingly, those front 2, Matt, have got a reasonable amount of daylight, haven't they? Almost 1.2 seconds between themselves and the 3rd place car of Ross Billison.
Yeah, and that's only at the end of lap number 1 here, so this is a good start for both of them. And bear in mind, Conor O'Brien had a sideways moment at Druid on that first lap, so he's done well to recover and catch back up with Mike Jordan now as they work their way down towards Graham Hill Bend. Still 3rd place at the minute for Ross Billison, 4th place for Joe Thompson, 5th place now on the charge is Glenn Woodbridge, who started in 6th, so 1 place gain for him so far, and Darren Thomas is the one who's lost out at 1 position. And we now see the slippery surface flag being shown at Surtees corner, so possibly something has been deposited onto the circuit.
Good gains on that lap for the number 38 car of Stephen Hopper, who had problems in qualifying, could only qualify in 14th position having set 2 laps. He was up 3 places on the first lap, so all is clearly well for the moment with the 38 car, so watch out for that one as it tries to carve its way further up through the order. Nose to tail for the lead of the race. Conor O'Brien having closed the gap a little bit on Mike Jordan that time through, and therefore sets the fastest lap on the first of the flying laps, a 59.1 second lap from him. The lap record round here is a 58.7 for the main Mini 7 class, so we're not quite to lap record territory as yet. So we did get there, didn't we, in the Mini 7 S-Class race that we've just seen, and if this one's half as good as that race, it's still going to be a belter, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be indeed. Mike Jordan still leads though, and the gap between 2nd and 3rd continues to grow at the minute, so O'Brien back to Ross Billison. It was 1.6 seconds, so let's see if that's grown over this next lap. And Conor O'Brien's got a problem. He pulls off down towards Surtees corner, so the man who sat on pole position, the man who sat 2nd within this race, the man who leads the championship, is out of this race.
What a shame for Conor O'Brien. That's his 2nd retirement, I think, of the season so far as well, so that is not at all what he wanted. Remember, you can drop your 3 worst scores, but that is not at all the way he wanted the day to get off. And what it now means is that Mike Jordan is on his own in the lead of the race as Joe Thompson dives at the inside of Ross Billison, heading in towards Paddock Hill Bend, and takes 2nd place away on the way into the corner. Ross Billison fights back on the exit of the corner and therefore draws himself alongside on the inside line, heading up in towards Druids. And because the door is open, it looks as though the car that's there in 4th place is going to try and sneak through as well, but it didn't quite work there for Glenn Woodbridge. He remains in 4th position despite his very best efforts.
Yeah, now all of these realise this could be for a place on the podium, so they're all trying to scrap a little bit harder. The gap, of course, to Mike Jordan continues to grow now with the vacant Conor O'Brien, who was there in 2nd place, but Ross Billison still just about holding on to 2nd place. Joe Thompson sitting there in 3rd. 4th place now under attack is going to be that of Glenn Woodbridge, and the one he's under attack from is that green machine, which is in the hands of Darren Thomas. So 4 for 2nd place, 1 out front on his own of Mike Jordan, but again it's this scenario we have to see if those 4 behind can work together to close down that gap. gap. That's what they need to do so much, because this is only it was on the screen as 15 minutes, but it was, I think, in the programme scheduled as 20, so it is the 20 we get. Just under 16 minutes now to go, but Mike Jordan, at the end of that lap, led by over 3 seconds.
Yeah, he really is disappearing up the road, isn't he? Joe Thompson is under pressure from Glenn Woodbridge this time as they headed towards a braking area for Druids. Can he hang on to third position? Well, he's braving it out around the outside to try and get the inside line for Graham Hill Bend, but is Glenn Woodbridge, I think, just about got past him. Yeah, so Glenn Woodbridge moves up into third position, Joe Thompson down into fourth. Nice to see Darren Thomas having a good run as well in fifth position at the wheel of the number 20 car, because for Darren, wow, this season has been a rotten season for him.
Certainly has, yeah, not one that he would have wanted to go his way. It hasn't gone, unfortunately, his way so far, but see if he can recover well. He's in a good position at the minute as they work their way again towards the completion of another lap, and Ross Billison there has just slightly broke away, not by a huge amount, but there's a couple of car lengths between him now and the third place car as they come up towards the line once more. So Billison is now there. Third place for number 39 is Glenn Woodbridge. Joe Thompson thinks about trying to sit there for the time being, but in doing so, the man behind Darren Thomas gets a little bit closer, so it's the ebb and flow with these places, but Glenn Woodbridge doing well to get up into that third place. But how much longer for? Because Joe Thompson sends one to the inside at Druids Corner, and that should be enough to go through, although Glenn Woodbridge has different ideas. Forces him out wide down towards Graham Hill Bend. I think Glenn would just about hang on here by his fingernails in that third place. Yeah, so Joe Thompson can't turn in towards the corner, which allows Darren Thomas to try and squeeze his way through at the wheel of the green car, the number 20 car. So side by side those two head along the Cooper Straight and up towards Surtees and McLaren. They're still side by side through Surtees, but Joe Thompson will have the inside line and should hang on to fourth place as they flick their way towards Clearways Corner. All of this whilst Mike Jordan just disappears up the road. He's now 3.4 seconds to the good over everybody. That's after 5 laps. He's about to complete lap number 6 now. Ross Billison in second place, Glenn Woodbridge in third, Joe Thompson hanging on to fourth from Darren Thomas, who's there in 5th place, and in 6th place that is going to be the car of Lee Roberts. Joe Thompson there again, just like Fraser Hack in the previous race, was sideways through Paddock Hill Bend at the top of it, so he loses momentum down the hill and then back up it, but that also loses him a place, Darren Thomas. And I'm afraid retiring in exactly the same place as he did in qualifying yesterday is Leon Window. He pulls the car off as he got towards pit lane exit and parks it near the recovery crew there. Exactly the same position as he retired yesterday when there was a load of oil came out the back of the car, but I can't see that there's any oil on the track from this retirement. No, it looks okay, so he's going to get the gate open and get back into the paddock, but that's day done for him in car number 27. The front runners now have spread themselves out. What's happened here? We've got a car pulling off, haven't we? Joe Thompson. Yeah. Joe Thompson, who's had trouble with this car. He was down on power at Donington. He wasn't entirely sure they'd sorted it when I was chatting to him when he was in testing on Friday, and I'm afraid that's another front-running car and race-winning car from earlier on this season that we have now lost. So Joe Thompson, very sadly, out of the race. So Mike Jordan leads, and now we're down to 2 fighting away for second and third position. Ross Billison under pressure from Glenn Woodbridge. Now Ross Billison we haven't seen a great deal of either in the championship so far this season. He had a couple of top 6s at Donington Park, a 5th and a 4th, but because of his lack of racing this year in the championship, we've certainly not seen him on the podium. He's up for second at the moment. Certainly is. That's just now spread the top 3 or 4 out from what we had a little bit earlier on, and also Darren Thomas has dropped off the tail as well, down to 4th place. I just wonder if he was caught out with Joe Thompson slowing on the run down towards Surtees Corner, but he's a long way back now from the top 3, and to be fair, he's now started to be caught by the next car in the line, which is number 94 here. So Lee Roberts in that kind of orange-yellow car working his way through Clearways and Clark Curve is not too far back from Darren, so if he can pick up a toe he might be able to get there. And then behind him is also recovering well Joe Polly, who started 7th on the grid. She was down to 9th at the end of the first lap, but now back up into 6th place. Yeah, and Joe is lying second in the championship standings. She's had 3 third places, 3 4ths and something like 3 6ths so far in the championship, but consistent scoring is what keeps her towards the sharp end of it at the moment, whereas we say others have had inconsistencies and retirements, and she's just been there or thereabouts all of the time, Joe. So downhill in towards the braking area comes this squabble for second and third place at Graham Hill Bend, still with Ross Billison leading the way and on for a season's best, but under pressure still from Glenn Woodbridge, who had a brilliant outing last weekend, or last time out at Donington Park, where he scooped up a second place in the first race of the weekend. He was third in the second race of the weekend, and at the moment that's exactly the position that he's in now. They have dispensed very much so with
the fourth place car, number 20 of Darren Thomas, who is still slowly getting reeled in by Lee Roberts, or was over the course of the last few laps. But I think on this lap, Darren Thomas in the number 20 car has responded and has put in a quicker time, I think.
Yeah, it might just stabilise there, mightn't it, between those two cars. Thomas goes through 59.8 and it's 60.6 for the car behind. So yeah, the gap has in fact opened up between Darren Thomas and Lee Roberts. Meantime, for second place, it's back together here, which is good to see. So Ross Billison and Glenn Woodbridge run together through Druids Corner. The gap between them and Mike Jordan out front is 3.9 seconds, and again that grew on the previous lap. So Mike Jordan continues to eke out his gap out front, although he's got no one to play with. He's doing all of this on his own ability at the minute as he works his way down towards Surtees Corner on what is now this 10th lap of the race. So things looking good here for Mike Jordan so far this year. As you said, 5 times a race winner, so if he gets this win, he will still be the man who's won the most races so far this year.
And just having a look at what's going on further down through the order as well, because we've got a good fight going on for 8th and 9th place. Stephen Hopper, I said watch out for him, has gained another place now with the number 38 car. He's up into 8th position, and down to 9th has gone the green car with the white flashes down the side, but car number 21 in the hands of Jordan Sims. And in fact, is this Stephen Hopper? Yeah, commentator's curse I've put on it. As soon as I say it and he gains the place, into the pit lane comes Stephen Hopper and into retirement. We've lost another one.
Yeah, so he's down and out the race, unfortunately. Joins the likes of Conor O'Brien and also Joe Thompson. Also, number 27 is out the race as well. Leon Window, as we know, through the exit of the pit lane he came in. So we're a few down in this one, but still have some good racing going on, especially for this second place at the minute, with Ross Billison still just about hanging on ahead of Glenn Woodbridge to the tune of 1.5 tenths of a second at the minute. So those two are fighting hard. Just wondering as well if Darren Thomas is coming back towards them, because last time through he did pretty much an identical lap time to the two ahead. So yeah, he's back on pace now, but he needs to close down around about a 2.3 second gap here. But as we know, if those two ahead keep squabbling, that will of course slow them down, and Darren should be back right there.
Yeah, Billison, Woodbridge and Thomas at second, third and fourth all did 59.9 second laps last time through, so pretty much equally each other for pace. But that time through, Darren Thomas remains in the 59s, whereas Ross Billison and Glenn Woodbridge, now they're squabbling 60.1, so the gap is coming down between the pair of them. You're absolutely right, Matt. And also we need to keep an eye what's going on also for Lee Roberts and Joe Polly, who are fighting over 5th and 6th. The orange car of Lee Roberts, the blue car with the pink flashes to it in hands of number 76 Joe Polly, because those two are still pretty much together, aren't they, as they head out of Druids?
Yeah, I think they were even closer before, because Joe just had a slightly slower lap there. So again, she's quicker on certain parts of the lap, and you're right there, she's right there with Lee Rogers at the minute, so Lee Roberts at the minute. So those two on their way down towards 30. We've got two fascinating battles inside the top 6, one for second and this one for 5th place as well. And this could be a great race for Joe, because she can capitalise very much on the demise of Conor O'Brien, being just 14 points adrift prior to this weekend. This could be another good point scoring round for Joe in 6th place.
Yeah, so if she remains there in 6th position, that would net her 15 championship points, whereas for Conor O'Brien, as a non-finisher, he would just pick up 1 single point. So 14 points adrift, Joe would get 15, Conor would get 1. That would tie them on championship points.
Couldn't be much closer, could it?
Yes, that's the way it looks. But of course, you know, later on in the season, you need to take the drop scores into account. We're almost getting towards that stage of the season where you need to look at where they're going to be dropping their worst scores, because that changes the dynamic, doesn't it, for championship season potentially?
Yeah, of course, with Joe with a better result, she's going to drop more points compared to Conor. It's a commentator's nightmare towards the end of the season when you have to start dropping points from a championship, but we all have to do it, and we get there eventually. I think.
Maths was never my strong point. Conor O'Brien actually will get the extra point for fastest lap as well, which we need to factor in as well, so he'd pick up the extra point for that as well. So he would just keep his head above water in terms of the overall championship. Through goes Mike Jordan, 7 minutes to go, 13 laps completed. Ross Billison under attack again from Glenn Woodbridge, who was really closed up and was almost looking to draw himself alongside as they went up towards Paddock Hill Bend. But it's still the number 49 car of Ross Billison that hangs on to 2nd place, despite the best efforts of Glenn Woodbridge, who, remember, has come from 6th on the grid. Yes, there's been a few retirements, but he was up there on merit anyway, Matt, wasn't he?
Yeah, certainly was. So he's doing very well as it stands. Mike Jordan now working his way through a little bit of traffic, but that doesn't deter him too much. Still leads by now over 5 seconds with 6.5 minutes left in this race. Ross Billison still holding on just about ahead of Glenn Woodbridge as they turn their way up again towards Surtees Corner. And behind on that previous lap, Darren Thomas was just fractionally slower, so he had been gaining on the two ahead of him, but now he is a little bit slower. The gap just under 2 seconds, but I think in time Darren should just get there before the end. But is that going to be a question of too little too late, as Jo Polly now sits in that 5th place?
Yeah, so she has managed to work her way through and ahead of Lee Roberts. She's been very patient at trying to pick off the car, but that's another place gain there for Jo Polly, which aids her cause in terms of the championship. And again, now she's got it through and ahead. That's an extra championship points, which means that we're back to potentially being tied on championship points again between Jo Polly at the end of this race and Conor O'Brien, the retiree.
Yeah, it should be level, shouldn't it? So let's see if she can make any more places up. Well, to be fair, she probably won't. She's 5.5 seconds adrift of Darren Thomas. What she would need is someone to drop off ahead of her to continue those point scoring factors on Conor O'Brien. But for now, she's happy. She's up there into 5th position, and let's see what she can do on closing the gap down to Darren Thomas up the road. There's a bit of traffic for them now to deal with in 2nd, 3rd and 4th places, so the blue flags from the marshal's post are starting to be waved. I think Darren Thomas is going to get hampered there through McLaren, isn't he? So he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, so Darren has to go wide through the corner, and that gap, which I think was just briefly coming down, is now going to go up once again between 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, that was Phil Gillibrand, who he just met in the wrong place at the wrong time, did Darren Thomas. So looking to try and gain an advantage over the cars ahead. He's actually lost out as we go side by side almost again up towards Paddock Hill Bend for 2nd and 3rd position. But Ross Billison just makes sure he's got the car positioned where he needs to, which makes it almost impossible for Glenn Woodbridge to try and unlock the door to 2nd place. Then nose to tail up towards the braking area for Druids corner. And as they then head round through Druids, is Glenn Woodbridge going to try anything on the run down in towards the braking area for Graham Hill Bend? So here they come now, the white car, Ross Billison, the largely blue car of Glenn Woodbridge. And no, they still remain nose to tail through the left-hander, whilst in 4th place it's still number 20, Darren Thomas. 5th place, Jo Polly. Completing the top 6 is Lee Roberts.
Yeah, Jo Polly's still got her work cut out here. She's still got Lee Roberts for company, so she's not just shaking him off just yet. So she's still working hard to defend the line and try and keep this place before the end of the race. And there's going to be some traffic for them to deal with now as they work their way through the same part where the man up the road, Darren Thomas, was caught out a lap ago, and they go to the inside. So no real drama there for Jo and Lee, and almost side by side for 2nd place now, because Ross Billison is still defending. Glenn Woodbridge is on most occasions trying to get through, but the more he challenges, the more time runs out, the less chance he has of getting through. But he'll try again up towards Druids, has the outside line into the corner, but of course round there you're doing more mileage, you've got more track to try and get past, and it just doesn't really work, does it?
No, I'm wondering whether Glenn Woodbridge is either pushing as hard as he can, or if he's just trying different things to try and understand when he gets the toe where's the best place to try and get the run. Retiring at the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend by the look of things, that looks like it was Phil Gillibrand's car that pulled off the circuit. Only just caught it out the corner of my eye, but it looked like the black car with the orange stripe down the centre of it, the number 57 car, in which case that is another one, unfortunately, we have lost. So we've got 3 minutes to go. Over the start-finish line comes Mike Jordan, who has led every single lap so far and is now the best part of 6 seconds up the road from this titanic battle for 2nd and 3rd place. But they've got a little bit of traffic, which is going to be Graham Penn's number 72 car that they're going to meet. Where are they going to meet it? I think it's going to be, thankfully as far as Ross Billison is concerned, out of Paddock Hill Bend and on the straight that brings them up towards Druids. And good driving by Graham Penn. He saw them coming, moved well and truly out of harm's way.
Yeah, slows the pace right down. He's actually going to slow down for Darren Thomas as well. So lovely driving there from the slightly slower car, which now gets back up to speed, back in line and tries to get some good laps in once again. But top 4 past there. Down towards Graham Hill Bend, then comes that scrap for 2nd place. Still Ross Billison doing a grand job of defending here from the man behind him, which is still that of Glenn Woodbridge. So those two pushing on as nicely as they possibly can, but both of them finding themselves a little bit further down in the championship than they'd have hoped for this season. Ross only doing the last few races, whereas the man who sits behind him, Glenn Woodbridge, has done most of them by Cadwell Park, but hasn't had the best results so far this year.
No, he had a couple of non-finishes in the opening 2 races at Silverstone, and then was just off the podium, 4th in both of the races at Snetterton. Last time out, Donington Park was his best weekend of racing, a 2nd and a 3rd. Well, he's in 3rd at the moment, but he's going to try for 2nd. Is he all the way round the outside of Ross Billison, braving it out as they head up towards Paddock Hill Bend? He's still on the outside, which means he's on the outside line as they head up towards Druids. So good driving by Ross Billison, didn't push out Glenn Woodbridge towards the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. Just gave him enough room, knowing full well he'd have the inside line for Druids. And somehow, Matt, he's hung on to second.
He has, and he's done it with just a couple of laps to go, I think, because we've now got 90 seconds left on the clock. So Ross Billison holds on just for another lap. But with that move, again, it might have just brought Darren Thomas back into the equation, just by a few tenths of a second, not by a huge amount. But if they do it again over the next lap, and then maybe the next one, he might just have a chance of getting back on the podium here.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see if he's got anything else that he could throw at it. Darren Thomas would be well advised to do it now to see whether he can close in onto the coattails of those ahead. Onto the penultimate lap of the race goes Mike Jordan. There's about 2 seconds plus a lap time left, so it's going to be quite tight when they get towards the checker flag. Mike Jordan could afford to ease off because he's 7 seconds in the lead. If he backs off by 2 seconds on this lap, it's his last lap, but I don't think he will. I think there'll be this lap and one more thereafter.
Yeah, racing driver just carries on, don't they? Pushing every single lap here. So Mike Jordan might have a slower lap, but he might just squeeze through for that last lap as well. So he heads down the hill. Darren Thomas is almost there. The gap now between him and cars ahead was at the line 1.5 seconds. Well, to me, that looks less than 1.5 seconds. So Darren Thomas continuing to push a little bit wide there into Graham Hill Bend. Still no change for second and third at the minute. So Ross Billison and Glenn Woodbridge, although Glenn thinks about a slight move in towards Surtees corner, but then backs out of that one as they turn away through McLaren and on towards Clearways. The checker flag is being held, but I don't think it's going to be unleashed this time through.
Let's just have a quick look over the start-finish line. 2, 1, 0 seconds, literally bang on as he comes over the start-finish line. Mike Jordan completes lap number 20, but he's got 21 to do. And now Ross Billison is going to really feel the pinch from Glenn Woodbridge as they went side by side a few laps ago in towards Paddock Hill Bend. They are nose to tail this time through, but opportunities are running out for Ross Billison to try and hang on to second place. Opportunities are lessening ever more for Glenn Woodbridge if he wants to move a step higher up on the podium.
Certainly is, and Joe Polly's under attack here from Lee Roberts on this last lap as well. She's just about hung on to 5th position, but she's got another 4 or 5 corners to try and do that. And again, Lee Roberts goes to the outside line through Druids corner. Joe Polly will just about hang him out to dry, although the door is left open for Lee Roberts here to try and get that place away on the last lap. Joe Polly's late on the brakes, but not late enough because Lee Roberts gets through. They both run out wide. Joe Polly a little bit wider than the other, but they're on the way down towards Surtees as Mike Jordan heads up towards the line.
Yeah, here he comes up towards the line now. It looks as though it's going to be another win for Mike Jordan. Win number 6 of the season goes the way of Mike Jordan, who claims a lights to flag victory here at Brands Hatch at the Mini Festival. Second place is Ross Billison, but on the run to the line, Glenn Woodbridge can't quite jink out from behind the slipstream to do enough. So by a matter of a tenth of a second, it's Ross Billison in second position at the wheel of the number 49 car, and for Ross that is his best result of the season so far. Glenn Woodbridge picks up another podium, finishes in 3rd place. Darren Thomas in 4th, with Lee Roberts picking the pocket of Joe Polly to come through to 5th place at the end of that final lap of the race. 6th goes the way of 76 Joe Polly. Graham Davis, we didn't really mention a great deal about. The number 22 car comes through to finish in 7th place. Jordan Sims takes the checker flag now to finish in 8th place. The only former champion that we've got on the grid, the 1993 Mini 7 champion, Tina Cooper, finishes in what is 9th position, and then conveniently enough car number 10 finishes in 10th position, which is Julian Proctor, a former Mini 7S class champion from a few seasons ago, finishes in 10th place. 11th place goes the way of number 93, which is Paul Woodbridge, and then the last of the cars to take the checkered flag is going to be car number 72, which is Graham Penn, who finished in 12th position. We lost Philip Gillibrand, we lost Stephen Hopper, we lost Joe Thompson, we lost Leon Window, and we lost the championship leader Conor O'Brien, but he does pick up the point as a non-finisher and the extra point for fastest lap of the race, so he will get 2 championship points. Joe Polly was running in 6th place at the end of that race, so she will pick up 15 championship points. So I think that means that Conor O'Brien, by virtue of the fact we had that place change with Joe Polly losing position on the last lap, I think Conor O'Brien still leading the championship by a single point if we do the math.